Good afternoon. George Herbig here, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Back at you with another update here. We have some shifting occurring on the models. So we have some snow coming tonight, of course, for a good portion of the state. And of course, we have another system to talk about a little bit for Saturday night. But obviously, in this broadcast, we'll focus more in on the expected snowfall tonight that has shifted quite a bit. So we have a new snow map that I have not posted yet, ready for you to view here. We'll show you that in this broadcast. We'll talk about the latest model data, and we'll talk about, of course, the impacts, timing, and everything that's expected here, along with our, I would call this a borderline winter storm for some folks tonight, based upon things that I'm seeing right now on the radar and on the model data. Of course, as you're coming into the broadcast, if you would not mind, please help us out here. Tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen. That shares this video onto your news feeds. That way your friends and family can view it and get up to date on what to expect. So I would appreciate that. Thank you guys for all the shares, the likes that you guys are going to give. I appreciate that a lot. That helps us grow and spread the information out. I'm going to do that real quickly myself. So if you wouldn't mind, give me 1 second here. And of course, make sure you're saying hello as you come in so I can make sure we see who's watching here with us and keeping up to date with you guys. All right, we are live on X, YouTube, and Facebook right now. So the best quality to watch on is on YouTube. So if you want to go there, you can watch it there. Of course, you can watch on any of those. We'll give it about, again, probably about 45 seconds before we start diving in here. So if you've just hopped onto the broadcast, you have not missed a thing. I'm just kind of allowing folks to get in here. I know it's kind of a last minute, out of routine broadcast here at 2 o'clock, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an in-depth update because I think there are some changes that we need to make to the expectations for tonight's snow system. Again, if you haven't heard or if you lived under a rock, we do have a snow system moving in, probably getting started here in Kentucky between about 5 to 7 p.m. Tonight, and then lasting for some of you all the way until about 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. But for most, it'll wrap up between 4 to 6 a.m. Friday morning. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about, and that's not even going over the potential Saturday system that we're talking about here. And of course, the single digit temperatures that lay behind the Saturday system for Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday, Monday morning. So another sort of loaded broadcast here, if you will. Yes, there are some new counties that I expect to be added to the winter weather advisory. You could argue winter storm warning for some folks, but I doubt they'll do that. And again, we'll talk about all of that. So again, welcome in here. I appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you to everyone. I'm seeing all the people that are sharing and liking. Thank you guys again for sharing and liking the broadcast. I don't say this often either, but make sure you're following. I appreciate that too. All right, so let's go ahead and pull up our main screen here and take a look at what we're seeing. So right now on the radar, what I have pulled up is the winter weather advisory. Now this is in purple and it starts, I believe, let's see here. What time does it start again? Starts from 7 p.m. this evening. Let me make sure it's the same for up here. Like, yeah, 7 p.m. this evening to 7 a.m. Friday. So a nice 12-hour period of a winter weather advisory. I do think eventually, if the trends continue, and I'm going to show you these trends on the model data, we're going to look at the radar that's happening to our north. And again, I'm going to show you what we're tracking here. But I think if the trends continue, you already see a special weather statement has come out for just west of the winter weather advisory. They could roll with that, but I think you can absolutely qualify these areas right here to be also included in that winter weather advisory. I'm really not sure what's happening here as to why that's not already included, but that's not my business. Jake, thank you for the $10 donation on YouTube. I appreciate that, my friend. Courtney, thank you for the 100 stars on Facebook. And for anybody else I missed, thank you very much. So I think you're going to see kind of another row of counties to the southwest, like, of course, Breckenridge and Meade, Hardin, maybe over here as well, maybe Campbellsville, maybe LaRue. But basically, these counties, basically one more row of counties to the south here, because again, we've seen a shift throughout yesterday, today, and of course, even on the model data or the radar right now, you can see a shift has occurred. So I do expect winter weather advisory to be issued and kind of another row to the south there. I think you can qualify it very easily. So let's go ahead and show you why I think that. I'm going to look at the model data, but first I want to show you the radar. So the radar is right now we're kind of in nowcast mode where the models really don't really matter as much to me at this point. It's the radar that matters a little bit more here. I'm going to put it into motion here. We're looking at the weather-wise radar once it finishes loading. I just want to kind of show you the last couple of hours or so. You'll see that that snow and precip, snow and rain, if you will, is actually also occurring just southwest of the main zone, if you will, of the winter weather advisory. So you can see there's activity outside of the winter weather advisory. Now, if that trend continues, again, you'll see most of this actually will come in as snow for Kentucky because we are below freezing at every layer except for the surface. And at the surface, we're like 33, 34 degrees. So again, you're still plenty cold enough to support snow. Um, so this rain that you're seeing here will likely end up being snow for Kentucky. Now, this will turn and pivot to the east at some point. Right now, all of this is kind of diving down to the south. It's kind of southeast-ish, but eventually it will come toward Kentucky and kind of swing, and you'll see it go up, kind of following the winter weather advisories and so on and so forth. It's where that swing happens that is causing the dramatic cutoffs. Remember, I've talked about this so much over the last few days. There's a very dramatic drop off from 3 to 4 inches of snow all the way down to 0 inches, like very fast. For example, I'm going to show you our snow map here in a second. But for example, in Louisville, I have some places at 4 inches, and in other places in the county, I have it at 0 to 1 inches. Because again, it's such a dramatic cutoff on the snow machine versus nothing at all. All right. So it's kind of where we're at on the radar right now. So we're continuing to watch that. And you can see that it's more on the western side of the winter weather advisory. If you look at the eastern side or the northern side, there's less activity going on right now. Now, eventually this will grow and expand and probably fill up that entire winter weather advisory. But this is more evidence that there's, at the least, should be special weather statements out for another row of counties to the south. But more appropriately, I think winter weather advisories will be expanded more into central Kentucky a little bit here and there. Okay, what I want to show you now is the kind of the latest model data here. And again, I don't look at model data at this point. We're too close to the event starting. I mean, I do for trends, but as far as going on it 100% verbatim, it's not the smartest move. I look at more the radar and the current meso analysis and so on and so forth. But I do kind of want to show you just for timing aspects. Now, this model run can only see 18 hours out, as you can see highlighted by the blue boxes over here. So it's not going to see the entire event, but you'll get a good feel of what is kind of the start and the middle portions of the event. So up until about 4 to 5, 6 p.m. or so, again, we should remain mostly dry, mostly clear in the state. It's 6 to 7 p.m. Don't make the 6-7 jokes, all right? It's 6 to 7 p.m. where things begin to wake up, and you can see the difference here already from what I showed you last night. So this is valid for 7 to 8 p.m. If I go back to an older run that I showed you last night, for example, let's go back to this run here. The 18Z, I think, is what I showed you last night. Here's what I showed you on last night's live broadcast of when the event started. Now, look at what's coming in right now. You see what we've had to deal with over the last, 12 to 14 hours here. There is an obvious shift to the southwest. And that's why it's a little bit surprising to me that we have not seen the winter weather advisories expanded yet. It's such an obvious shift to the southwest for things to start. Now, again, I still think the focus for the heavier snowfall is north central, northeastern Kentucky. But again, at least for the start, we're seeing an obvious shift to the west. Now, the only problem with that is the more that this line goes west, you can see it gets closer to that above freezing line, the above freezing line in red here. So some of this may come in as a rain-snow mixture. So keep that in mind. But I do think at least 80% of this will be snow, if not all of it. All right. So this is valid for about 7 to 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. or so. You'll see that heavier snows, maybe not heavier, but more moderate snows are occurring from Louisville to Elizabethtown, Somerset, Campbellsville, LaRue County, going over toward Litchfield, even Owensboro on this model run. This line is trying to stretch all the way over to Evansville, Indiana. So again, that's kind of interesting as well, because I just made a new snow map, and this model these trends continue to go west. I keep expecting them to bounce back and eventually go a little bit more to the east, like we always see. But the trends for the last 24 hours have continued every single run nearly to go west on almost every model. All right. So there may be even a few more surprises. Advance this forward about 9 to 10 p.m. You'll see that line is now starting to get pushed to the east. You'll also notice on the backside here, see all these little cut-ins? That's that drier air trying to start eating at the backside of this event. So that's why, even though this is shifting to the west, we haven't really moved our snow map all that much. We have, I'll show you in a second once again. But we haven't moved it that dramatically to the west because even though you may see an hour or two of some light to moderate snowfall, only really a dusting to an inch is expected out of that. And then you'll quickly get shoved out of the snow zone. But here, even as of 9 to 10, Louisville, Elizabethtown, Meade, Breckenridge counties, even close to Bowling Green. Maybe not getting quite to Bowling Green. It's probably going to be a little bit too warm down there. But even though we're towards Somerset, heavier or moderate snow is going on. Now it's approaching the I-75 and I-64 corridors with some moderate snow. Advancing us forward about 10 to 11 p.m., you'll see that the backside is starting to getting kind of shaved away because, again, the drier air is there. And now your more heavier snows are focused towards Somerset, Lexington, Louisville, and Elizabethtown. I do want to remind you that this is one model. So don't look at this, for example, if you're in Somerset. In Somerset, I still think you're more closer to a dusting to 2 inches. But you have trended up. But just don't look at this and say, oh, I'm getting 5 hours of heavier snowfall. I don't think it's going to 100% play out exactly like this. But this is I guess, the best option at this stage to show you at least kind of just some time frames. All right. Advances forward about 12 to 1. This is where kind of the turn takes place. And you'll notice that E-Town, you're now out of the snow. Breckenridge County is now out of the snow. Somerset, you're now out of the snow. And the focus of the longer duration snows is toward the I-64 corridor, like Lexington, Louisville. And again, this is even more south than what it was because the more longer duration snows on the previous model runs was north of I-64. Now those longer duration snows are along and just south of I-64. So we're still continuing, even in the later hours of this event, to see trends and shifts to the southwest a bit. So again, advancing us forward about 3 to 4 a.m. Again, now you're seeing several hours of some light, maybe moderate snow occurring. Again, that stretch from, what is that, I-64, I-71, I-64, right? Between Louisville and Lexington. I think it's, what is it, 64 or 71, one of the two. I can't remember off the top of my head. But that stretch from along that interstate there from Louisville to Lexington is just hours of some moderate snowfall for places like Bullitt County, getting toward Lexington, Louisville. This is an area where we may see some overachieving occurring. All right. Advancing this forward, once again, you'll see by about 5 to 6 a.m., the snow machine begins to start turning off, but it's still the same areas. So you're noticing the trend and the pattern there. At least there's some consistency there that the same areas are seeing several hours of snowfall at this point. And of course, that's the end of this model run. And the new model is coming in now. The new run's coming in now. It can see further away, but it still doesn't see the entire duration of the event. So here is our snowfall totals that we have just updated here. Let me pull that up here for you. And again, I'm going to post this on the page so you can kind of zoom in and look at it that way. But here, I mean, here it is. We did add a 3 to 5 inch zone. Again, mainly on the eastern side of Jefferson County, getting out to the suburbs in eastern Jefferson County, and then up into the northeast, stretching out toward Lexington, where you saw pretty much the longest duration of snowfall there. 3 to 5 inches, I think, is a really good bet. I think it's going to be a really common, I think 3 to 4 in that purple zone and 2 to 3 in that blue, darker blue zone is going to be very common measurements that you're going to see over the neck or over the duration of this event. I do have a 1 to 3 inch zone in that kind of different shade of blue there for places like northern Hardin County, western Bullitt, southwestern Jefferson, getting over there toward Marion County, getting out toward Jackson, Kentucky, Pikeville, Kentucky, Maysville, Florence. Now, I will tell you, I am a little bit lower up in northern Kentucky toward like Florence, Maysville, Kentucky than a lot of other folks. I'm not really sure where the higher end totals are coming from because I think it's more focused into the I-64 corridor. But I just wanted to point that out there that yes, I am a little bit lower. Like if you're in Florence or northern Kentucky, I'm a little bit lower on the snowfall totals than like even the NWS. I think the NWS is a little bit more bullish up there than we are. I did shift the dusting to 1 inch zone a little bit to the southwest. The 1 to 3 inch zone, I have pushed a little bit more to the southwest. And I went ahead, instead of saying isolated 4, I went ahead and put a 2 to 4 inch zone from Lexington to Richmond to Moorhead. And then, of course, out toward Louisville as well. Places in between there like Bardstown. And again, I want to point out, even though this is our final call for snowfall, because at this point, I'm not going to keep making maps all day. All right. This is our final call for snowfall. I do want to point out, though, that this can continue to take little bitty shifts to the southwest. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of those higher zones still continue to creep to the southwest a little bit. That area in red continues to be my highest area of uncertainty. And again, the reason for that is because we still may see minuscule shifts to the southwest of some of those snow bands. So again, that red area continues to be my highest area of uncertainty. It could be as low as dusting to 1 inch. It could be as high as 2 to 3 inches. So again, that continues to be, in my eyes, the highest area of uncertainty. And I think even the NWS posted an image where they circled almost the same area where it was their highest area of uncertainty as well. So again, that's places like E-Town, Campbellsville, Somerset, Williamsburg, up there toward Meade and Breckenridge counties. Again, continues to be the highest area of uncertainty. You can be anything from a dusting to anything to even 3 inches. So again, and I hate that we can't nail that down, but that's just the reality of this event. And I'd rather be honest with you and tell you it is uncertain right there. Where I feel most confident is that blue zone. I really feel confident in that dark blue 2 to 4 inch zone. I really feel confident about that. Um, let's see here. I did see someone asked earlier why Jim Caldwell's map shows 4 to 6 inches out there in Eastern Kentucky and ours shows 1 to 3 inches. Guys, I don't talk about other people's snow maps. I don't care. I love y'all, but I talk with them behind the scenes about some other things. We try to stay away from the whole meteorology and weather stuff because it just, we talk about it with you all enough. I can only tell you this: different eyes see different things, right? I don't know. The NWS also has like a 2 to 3 inch zone out there as well, so it's more in line with what we've made. I'm not sure where the 4 to 6 inches comes from places like Pikeville and Ashland and out there in Eastern Kentucky. I don't know. Okay. So again, I'm not going to answer questions about other people's forecasts because different eyes see different things. And, I know it's frustrating for you guys because between the two of us, that is kind of a 1 to 6 inch zone for out there. But all I can tell you is based off of the things that we've seen, the trends that we've focused on, and the models that we've seen, the current radar and measuring the atmospheric conditions above our heads. This is the zone. I am pretty confident in this map. This is a difficult event, and there are going to be some of you that are going to be disappointed and surprised tomorrow. Because again, when you have events like this that has a very dramatic cutoff, a shift of 15 miles makes a huge difference of someone getting a dusting or even 3 to 4 inches of snowfall. So again, I just kind of want to show you just what I'm talking about here, if I can pull it up. So here is the HRR model, the one that we just saw. Look at how dramatic the drop off is. So a shift of 15 miles is absolutely a huge difference on what you can see. Matter of fact, I kind of want to show you some of the other, just kind of give you some more context here. I hit the wrong button. But here, the damn 3K model is ridiculous. There's a reason that model is being retired. But here's a double RFSA model, right? It's showing a little bit of a different scenario. Again, look at how dramatic the drop off is. Places like, look at Hardin County, for example, right? Northern Hardin County is showing 2 to 3 inches. If you go 20 miles to the south into like Fort Knox, it's showing a dusting. So again, a shift of 15 to 20 miles, which is always possible in the last minute, can absolutely make a massive difference. So that's what I mean when some of you are going to be surprised or disappointed because not us, not the NWS, not any of your favorite TV outlets, no one's going to get this forecast 100% perfect because the drop off is incredibly dramatic with this one. By the way, we haven't even gotten to Saturday yet. I do want to touch a little bit on Saturday because I know a lot of you are going to ask about it. I do want to touch a little bit on Saturday's potential event. I think the European model is handling it pretty decently. I can also tell you that Saturday's event is attached to a different piece of cold air. So tonight's event, we're actually going to be warming up a little bit through the event. So by the time the event is over, we'll actually be about 32 to 34 degrees for a lot of those folks that did see snowfall. So that makes a big difference. For Saturday's event, we're actually going to be in the 20s for a lot of the event. And then by the time the event is hitting its last couple of hours, we may be in the teens. So you're talking about a whole different type of snowfall for Saturday, a much more efficient snowfall. Snow ratios for this event that we're seeing tonight is probably going to be something like 9-1. So it's not very efficient. Whereas the snow ratio for Saturday night is probably going to be something like ridiculous 20-1. Basically, what a snow ratio is, if you don't know what that means, is for every 1 inch of liquid, you can get a certain amount of snowfall out of it, depending upon the temperatures at each layer of the atmosphere and, of course, the moisture levels as well. So a snow ratio of 10-1, for example, which is the average snow ratio, means that for every 1 inch of liquid that is in that storm system, you get 10 inches of snow. Whereas a 20-to-1 ratio is like 20 inches of snow for every 1 inch of liquid, so on and so forth. So it's a different type of snow system for Saturday night. And I don't think the models are handling it very well so far because it has Arctic air attached to it. And whenever Arctic air is attached to a snow system that hits the Mid South and the United States, that also is being influenced a little bit by the Gulf moisture, models struggle mightily with that type of snow system until you get like 12 hours out. So we will have a better idea on that tomorrow, but I'll just show you briefly kind of what this is seeing for Saturday. So for Saturday, most of it's probably going to start in the afternoon hours, heading toward the late evening. And I do think, again, it's probably going to be the same spots, very similar, maybe a little bit more south to include more of central Kentucky, maybe a little bit of western Kentucky for Saturday night. But it's going to be relatively the same spots. And I think it's going to be a widespread 2 to 4 inch event, a very widespread 2 to 4 inch event. Here is the model data to show you that snowfall total. And again, this is going to change, so don't take this 100% verbatim. Right now, it does have a widespread 1 to 3 inches. I do think this will continue to shift south, and I do think it will continue to trend up a little bit on the snowfall amounts because, again, I don't think the models are handling it quite well right now. I think what you're seeing here in central Indiana probably shifts quite a bit to the south into more portions of northern Kentucky, which in turn shifts a little bit of the lighter amounts into central, maybe western, and maybe even to far southeastern Kentucky for Saturday. So quite the roller coaster ahead. And by the way, we warm up next week into the 40s and 50s. So this is kind of the last gasp, I think, in my opinion, for a little bit of winter. And I don't think we see, at least from what I've seen so far, I don't think we see snow return probably until the new year. And again, that could change, of course. We all know that could change, but that's kind of what we're seeing right now. I'll pull up the snow map once again for you guys so you guys can see that a little bit more. I'll answer a few questions. Folks, I want to tell you right now, I'm not going to answer questions about what you're going to see in your front yard because it's right there on the map. My best advice to you, find where you're at on the map and then look at ours. Of course, we will post the map on our social medias for you guys to look at a little bit further. But I will absolutely answer impact questions. I already know before I look over, is schools going to close or delay on Friday morning? They absolutely will. Of course, I can't answer, for each individual snow system, but if you get like 2 inches or more of snow on the ground, or heck, even lately it's been 1 inch or more of snow on the ground, you're probably at the least going to see delays. And again, I think a lot of the schools, especially in the dark blue, basically the top two zones there, the dark blue and the purple zone, I think you're going to see 90% of those schools closed for Friday, or NTI or whatever it's called now. Places like Hardin County, could potentially close essentially for the north and eastern side of the county. So just take that for what you will as well. I think that you'll see a lot of those schools in those top three zones at the very least delay, if not close for tomorrow, because the timing is just, it's not there. The event ends for most of you between like 3 to 6 a.m. Eastern time. So these road crews would have to get all those roads cleared in a matter of 2 to 3 hours for schools to get in time. That's not going to happen. As great as the road crews are, there's so many roads throughout each and every county and city. It's not going to happen. So yes, I do expect a lot of closures and delays for tomorrow because again, the timing is there. Now, as far as melting, a lot of people are going to ask about melting. I already know that's coming. Melting will take place once the snowfall ends. But I do think for you places that see the heavier snow totals, like 2 to 3 inches or greater, only about half that snow will melt. And then we will see some refreezing Friday night as we drop below freezing. And then we will see more snow added on Saturday evening. And then we will see single-digit temperatures for Saturday night. And, of course, going into Sunday morning. And wind chills potentially in the negatives. So a lot of this snow is going to be really locked in for Saturday night and Sunday. So if you're traveling for church on Sunday, of course, I think you probably are going to be watching that church on a live stream. I know most churches do live streams now. So just again, a heads up on that. I think travel for Sunday morning, especially Saturday night, Sunday morning, is going to be really difficult. I would not recommend it at all. A lot of you have asked about plans for that at this stage. And of course that will change and I'll let you know the changes and of course the forecast for Saturday. But as of right now, from everything that I'm looking at for potential refreezing from this event and new snow on Saturday evening, Sunday's travel is not going to be recommended. And of course, I already know What about schools for Monday? Yes, I think you will see continued closures for Monday because again, I don't think our high for Sunday is probably not going to go above 15 degrees if you see snowfall on the ground. If you have snowfall on the ground, your high on Sunday is probably not going to go any higher than 15 degrees. Why is that important? Because salt and the chemicals that they put on the ground really becomes less effective once you get below 15 degrees. Especially when you consider that there may be some refreezing to happen and creating a little bit of ice below the fresh snow on Saturday. So, yes, I do expect that you might see continued closures and delays on Monday. The good news is the Arctic blast that we're seeing for Saturday night through Monday morning really eases up very quickly on Monday afternoon. And next week, it looks to be quite a bit warmer than what we've seen over the last few weeks or so. So, again, we got to get through this last little 72 to 96 hours here of snow and cold. And then I think we do warm up and actually have quite the pleasant week for next week. All right. I think I answered a lot. I think we covered a lot right there. I really do. But I'll get to a few of your questions. Again, I'm not going to answer what's happening in my backyard versus my side yard, folks. It's right on the map. I love y'all, but we will be here all day answering about each and every. It's on the map. I love y'all, but it's on the map. I do have a piece of advice for you as well. Piece of advice when you're looking at snow maps, whether it's ours or anyone else's. Wait, Neil just texted me. Oh, there it is. There it is. This is updating right now. Winter storm warning, first one of the season, is now out for Dry Ridge, Owenton, up here, Mount Olivet, into north central and northeastern Kentucky. I want to see how that compares to our snow map. Owenton. You know, sometimes you hit the lottery. Now, I will say they did extend that quite far into northeastern. I'm a little bit surprised by how far that got extended, but I'm not completely shocked. I'm not completely shocked. But a winter storm warning is now out for these people in pink, and we'll see update. I think we're getting some updates right now to the radar showing the and there it is. Winter storm warning now stretches down toward Lexington, Frankfort. Winter weather advisory has been expanded into Radcliffe, Elizabethtown, Harder County, and we're starting to see more of these get loaded in. Interestingly enough, Jefferson County has been left out of the winter storm warning, even though the two counties that surround it, the three counties that surround it, are in the winter storm warning. That is interesting, and that's probably because of the urban heat island that's there. But our forecast, by the way, has like this area in Jefferson County in that 4-inch zone, well, 3 to 5-inch zone. So yes, we do have a winter storm warning out now in pink, winter weather advisory in purple. By the way, the difference is winter weather advisory, 4 inches or less than 4 inches, really anything between like 1 to 4 inches. Winter storm warning is 4 inches or greater with a decent amount of confidence happening within a 12-hour period. I'll click on the bulletin for you and kind of read it. Winter storm warning in effect from 7 p.m. this evening to 10 a.m. Eastern time on Friday. Heavy snow expected. Total snow accumulations 3 to 5 inches. Portions of south central Indiana and east central and north central Kentucky. So again, winter storm warning now out. That really does do a decent job of matching our forecast. I mean, it's really close. You can't get a whole lot more closer than that. And they did extend it quite a bit far into Kentucky. I'm a little bit surprised by that because the moisture really drops off with this event once it gets toward like Carlisle, Mount Olivet, even toward Cynthiana, Brooksville. The moisture with this system really shuts off at a drastic level. So I'm a little bit shocked, but I went all the way down here to Nicholasville for the winter storm warning. I'm a little bit shocked by how far into Kentucky it is. I'm not like it's unreasonable, but I'm a little bit shocked because again, oh Jared, I just saw your comment. What's up, man? I'm a little bit shocked just because again, the moisture, as we've seen on the models, really shuts off once it gets a little bit deeper into Kentucky, like past Frankfort, past Cynthiana, so on and so forth. So I'm a little bit shocked, not like floored. Another little bit of a shocking thing about this, as I refresh again, is that Louisville or Jefferson County is not included in the winter storm warning, but you have Shelbyville and Sellersburg, Indiana in it. So again, a little bit baffled by that. But again, I think that's because Louisville's got that nice little urban heat island. It's just quite interesting. But so again, live right here, you just saw winter storm warnings now issued. That's the first one. of the season, despite some folks having 4 to 5 inch reports from, was it the last event or the event before that? I can't even. We've had so many snow events already that I'm starting to lose track. So I mean, this is crazy. I can't believe we've had this many snow events already. Now, for most of you, you've only seen a couple of inches or less from most of the events altogether. But I did not expect it to be this active. Now, we did say on the Wintercast video that we would start active and then calm down and then get active again after the new year. So we've been pretty spot on with that. But I'm a little bit surprised by how just how active it's been so far. Back in around Taylor, yeah, Taylor County is not included in the winter weather advisory. Is it possible this moves any further south? Asking for Nelson County looks to be on the edge of the pink. You know, I guess you're asking, can the winter storm warning expand any more to the south? You know, it's 2:30. So the event starts in less than 5 hours. As you can see, it's already kind of approaching. Man, this continues. I mean, look at this. So again, this kind of points to, I know we're getting into the chatty part, but this still just points to what I've been saying this whole time. Look at where the precipitation is right now. Whether it's rain or snow, it doesn't matter. Up there, it doesn't matter. Look at where it's at. It's on the western side of the winter weather advisory. And the winter weather advisory stops like right there. So you have all this that's occurring on the western side of it, not advised. So this continues to trend to the southwest. So my answer to your question is, it's not impossible to see that winter storm warning maybe expand another row of counties to the southwest. But since we're only 5 hours out, I wouldn't say it's all that expected at this point. Yes, Hardin County now has a winter weather advisory, which I certainly agree with. I think where they have the advisories at now is pretty spot on. I still don't know what's happening down there toward like Somerset. I think northern Pulaski County, right? I'm starting to get more familiar with the county names. There's so many names to try to memorize. Northern Pulaski County, I think, could be included in that. As you can see, evidenced by the Liberty being included in the winter weather advisory. It makes no sense as to why you wouldn't have Northern Pulaski in it as well. That would be my only gripe. Maybe you can add in Taylor County as well into the winter weather advisory, because again, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But again, that would be, you're splitting hairs at that point. So I agree where they have everything set up right now, and who knows, they may not be done with it. I don't think they are done with it. But where everything is kind of set up right now with the warnings versus the advisories, I think it's pretty kind of spot on with what we're thinking as well. I can't remember when the last time a weatherman got this snow stuff right. They called for 2 to 4 and got 10. Rick, what are you talking about? No one's gotten 10 inches of snow in Kentucky yet this year. Rick, are you okay? It's spitting snow here in Frankfurt. Yeah, that'll continue to happen as that moisture tries to get squeezed out. And then we'll get the more main event later on. Is the pink the winter storm warning? Yes, the pink is the winter storm warning. That's correct. I'm hoping Edmonson County will see some snow. Yeah, I wouldn't hold your horses on that. What's the teal? The teal was a special weather statement, so they're expecting maybe like a quick. Let me read what they have it out for. Light snow may call. Yeah, so just for a quick like 1 inch or less dusting there in southwest Indiana. Louisville is a huge city. Makes no sense why we aren't in warning. Not all of us are in the heat island. Yeah, I do think the eastern, like the far eastern side of Jefferson County, I wish you can make the warnings not county by county, because I do think the far eastern portions of Jefferson County can absolutely qualify for a winter storm warning. But then the problem is you have to include that entire county in that winter storm warning, whereas the southwestern side of the county is probably closer to 2 inches. So I understand why they didn't do it, but I feel like the way we do that is a little bit outdated. And if there's any NWS folks that happens to be watching this broadcast, again, please know that I'm not disrespecting you at all. I know it's not your fault the way things are set up, but I do think the way that we do things is a little bit outdated when we have all this new technology and we can make custom polygons and such. And you know what I mean? You think that Lexington's going to get a ton? Again, our snowfall map looks like this. I think you're comfortably in that 2 to 4 inch zone. We do not cover Indiana, my friend, but Seymour, Indiana is probably closer to like 4 to 5 inches. Will the roads get back quickly once it starts? That's a great question. That's what I wanted to show you as well. So these are interstate temps. Interstate temps right now are about 37.8, 33.5, 42. My gosh. Pavement temps 28 there. So anywhere between, like, let's say 32 to 35 degrees on the interstate. So you're probably looking at, 30 to 32 on your side roads. So yeah, this will probably get slick pretty fast when the snow starts. Teresa, we'll probably cover Saturday night and Sunday more because probably on like Friday morning and such and throughout Friday. Right now, I think the models are not handling it correctly at all. Just know that more snow is expected Saturday night. Again, I'm not going to answer snowfall expectations for your all's backyards or your counties. It's right there on the map for you folks. I love you all to death, but I would run out of my voice by the time I answer all of you all. I promise you, it's right there on the map. Great. The eastern side of Grayson County may see a dusting. I know that one was kind of hard to read, so I'll answer that one. Hodgeville needs some snow. Yeah, you guys have just missed out several times. You missed it earlier, but emails have gone out to officials in Owensboro regarding weather cameras. So cross your fingers. Ooh, thank you, Lexi. I appreciate that. Let them know. I don't know who you guys have to contact out there, but let them know if they need any information or a way to potentially save some money or hook it up with a really good company. Make sure you guys let them know to reach out to us. Timing for tonight is probably starts up between about 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time in the north central portion of the state, and then stretches through the rest of the state throughout the night, probably ending around 4 to 8 a.m. on Friday morning. Driving to Nashville tomorrow from Fort Knox, when do you think is the best time to leave? Probably after sunrise. As you're going south, from Fort Knox to the south, you'll quickly run out of any like real impacts or concerns. So going south is probably not going to be that much of a problem, especially if you wait till after sunrise. I see your uncertainty area, but I'm just hopping on. Can the uncertainty shift and give us lots of snow in that cutoff? So the uncertainty area is the area where the cutoff really gets more drastic. So yes, I think if I'm being very honest, in that area of uncertainty, it could be anything between a dusting to 3 inches. I'm just being honest with you guys. I know you guys like to have those more precise and specific zones. Trust me, I love to have those too. But if I'm being honest with you, in that uncertainty zone, it could be anything between dusting to 3 inches. Now, the more west you are in that uncertainty zone, so if you're more closer to this left red line, obviously closer to a dusting. Now, if you're closer to the more right or the more eastern line, probably closer to 2, maybe 3 inches. Chelsea, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So the highest level of uncertainty could shift to less or more. Yeah, I think, hopefully you just heard my breakdown on that, Sarah. Would you consider Lexington and Danville in the same snow situation? Yeah, 2 to 4 inches is probably a good bet for both of those places. Lexington, I think, probably ends up with a little bit more. Again, this starts later on tonight, guys, around dinner time, maybe just after. And then really the heaviest snowfall, in my opinion, for a lot of you folks will be between about 10 p.m. to about 4 a.m. on Friday. 10 p.m. tonight, 4 a.m. Friday morning. Let me see, make sure I didn't miss any. I know I probably missed some donations and such, so thank you guys very much for anyone that may have donated that I may have missed. Thank you very much. David, you know why. Stop playing around. Can Eastern Kentucky quit hogging all the snow and let what? I know it's just the way the pattern is right now. This should change a little bit by the new year, January and February. We should start seeing some of these zones expand more into Kentucky. But right now, just a better cold air is in the eastern portion of the state. I remember in the early 90s getting a forecast for snow flurries and woke up to 24 inches of snow. Yeah, it was 94. Thankfully, the data and information that we have available now is much more advanced than it was 30 years ago. Again, I'm not going to answer snow amounts for backyards, guys. It's right there on the map, folks. I love y'all to death, but we'll run out of oxygen if we keep answering all those. Elizabeth, thank you very much. Do we know if the snow will freeze in Lexington? Yes, it will. We do see a lot of refreezing potential for Friday night. So it'll melt throughout the day on Friday a little bit. And then by the time the sun drops on Friday, we start dropping below freezing. Colder air begins to move in. Some refreezing will absolutely occur for Saturday morning, Friday night. And then, of course, another area or another round of fresh snow Saturday evening. Elizabeth, thank you for the 50 stars. I appreciate that. But pretty much Hart County will again get nothing. Man, that sucks. I miss snow. Yeah, you may get lucky and get a dusting, maybe a half inch if you're lucky. But I think for the most part, yeah, it's another disappointing for you event or another disappointing event for you folks in South Central and in Western Kentucky. What time will it be out of Lexington? Probably closer to 7 to 8 a.m. Hanging Christmas lights. Currently, it's getting colder. Yeah, that's Godspeed. Godspeed. It's cold out there. That northwest wind is definitely cold. Thanks for everything you do. Appreciate it very much. Everybody be safe. 50 to infinity on YouTube. Thank you for that compliment there. All right. I think at this point, it's a good time to wrap up the broadcast. We've been live here with y'all for 40 minutes or so now. I want to say thank you guys again to everyone that has liked, shared the broadcast, everyone that's followed and subscribed to our pages. I appreciate that very much. I'm going to get back to looking at the newest radar data, model data, so on and so forth. Make sure we're still on par with what we're thinking. I will post this map on our pages along with the new winter storm warnings and advisories so that you guys can go view all of those in more detail. But anyway, we got y'all covered. I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in to our video. Until next time, stay safe, friends. Oh, yes, Kelly, I got you.